I remember going to the gym that night and I texted one of my good friends telling him about this, saying like, hey, I think there's a demand for furniture.
You can have some freedom and flexibility in your life and still make a pretty darn good living. And if you're the owner operator like you and your brother, then have the ability to stockpile some cash and then levy that into different types of investments.
Spend a lot of time just looking on Facebook and be on the phone all the time and be the first person to message people to go pick up a couch. I wanted the couches to come to me instead of me looking for those couches.
Theoretically, like you could buy 100 couches a month on Facebook Marketplace if your market was big enough and you could sell 100 couches a month. In reality, it's just not.
Once to get roughly $500 to $600, that's where you can start flipping more couches. At that point, you can get 2-3 couches at a time. And
you get to Marketplace for the first time, you're scanning around, oh my God, there are hundreds of options. What do I buy? What do I buy? Welcome back to another episode of the Couch Pod. Today, I have an exciting guest for you, someone who's been flipping couches at scale for the past 4 years and has built an absolute powerhouse of a business in Chicago. Jakub Bukarevsky, along with his brother Simon, flip couches at volume, primarily dealing today in liquidation inventory. They operate out of 2 warehouses totaling 8,000 square feet. In their best month, they've sold up to 100 couches, and they have some tactics that they're here to share with you today. Jakub, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. So let's kick it off with your backstory. 4 years in the game. How did you first get into couch flipping, and when did you realize that this is something that you wanted to do and scale?
So couch flipping, it kind of started with my mom. She asked me to list her bedroom set that was in the guest bedroom at her house, just online somewhere so someone can pick it up and buy it. And I didn't really know where to post it at the time. Like I wasn't familiar with Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp or Craigslist or any of that. And so I looked it up and saw that Facebook was an option. I posted the bedroom set. It was a twin set, so it was very small, but I posted it for like $80, and within like a couple minutes I had like 10 messages saying I'll pick it up right now. I remember going to the gym that night and I texted one of my good friends telling him about this, saying like, hey, I think there's a demand for furniture to resell. And he actually said like, yo, did you watch this video on YouTube? And it was Ryan Pineda video where he says like, oh, how to sell couches online, how to flip them. That night we got on a FaceTime call and we just started looking at Facebook Marketplace for free couches or Craigslist. We saw one to pick up. It was a pull-out bed, sleeper couch from Craigslist. It was like 5 minutes away from our house. We picked it up for free. And then at the time, we brought it back to his parents' garage. We just took pictures of it, cleaned it up a little bit. We didn't really know how much to price it at that point, at the time. And so threw it up on Facebook Marketplace for $250. And that night it got sold. And the next day it got delivered. So at that point, we're like, wow, we just made $250 from a free couch that we picked up. And all we had to do was just clean it up a little bit and take good pictures of it. And that was during COVID. Yeah.
A tale as old as time itself. That magical first flip or two, the aha moment when the light bulb goes off and you realize, wow, there's actually revenue, there's money to be made in other people's trash or things that they don't want anymore, or at least things that they're willing to sell at a reasonable price on Facebook Marketplace. Today, obviously, the business has changed a lot since then, and you've even started to coach other flippers, people that are aspiring in the game, what to look for, how to scale up their business. Maybe you could talk about that just a little bit.
So I grew to a point where pretty satisfied with where I'm at right now. I'm not really looking to scale into becoming like a retail store or have storefronts anywhere. I do believe that this is a good way to teach people who may be in either student loan debt or just have credit card debt that they want to pay off, but they don't really know how to. I want to teach people how to use couches as a way to pay off either their debt or even start saving up money to invest that money in other categories like real estate or Airbnbs or just whatever they want, stocks or anything. So that's why I decided to go down that route to help other people, because couches did help me a lot. I did pay off like a lot of my student debt that I had from college. And so this is just a way that I want to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's freedom in couches, right? You could go work W-2, 9 to 5 on someone else's hour, or you can have some freedom and flexibility in your life and still make a pretty darn good living. And if you're the owner operator like you and your brother, then you have the ability to stockpile some cash and then levy that into different types of investments. So ultimately, the American dream today is about having financial freedom, but the means to access that financial freedom aren't the same, definitely aren't what they used to be, right? Like I think the average middle class American had a much better shot at their slice of the freedom pie 20, 30 years ago as compared to the current economic state. Although, who knows how things go over the next couple of years.
I mean, the cost of living just keeps going up for people, so that's just like some extra money on the side always helps out everyone. So
it's always good. Now, you started making some shifts in your business. So you're not sourcing couches individually on Facebook, or if you are, that's not the primary means by which you're getting couches. Like you're doing more wholesale, you're doing more bulk purchasing. What motivated you to make that transition in your business?
Do you dream of being the undisputed top couch flipper in your market? Hard work alone won't get you there. The secret? Working smarter, not just harder. Enter Ivy Flip. You're listening to our podcast to get the cutting edge when it comes to tactics for running your flipping business. So why not also have the cutting edge when it comes to technology for your couch flipping empire? Ivy Flip has the best sourcing app for couch flippers in the world. With Ivy Flip, you won't have anxiety about missing a couch deal. We will work 24 hours a day to notify you as soon as the deals you're after are posted, meaning you'll get there before your competition and with a fraction of the effort. And right now, we are offering a 1-week free trial to new users. Try it out before it's too late. Just search Ivy Flip in the iOS App Store or the Google Play Store now, or click the link in bio.
yeah, so I mean, acquiring couches from Facebook Marketplace, I spent a lot of time just looking on Facebook and be on the phone all the time and be the first person to message people to go pick up a couch. I wanted the couches to come to me instead of me looking for those couches. So I wanted to eliminate that time of sourcing the couches and going to acquire them, because I would drive like up to an hour probably to pick up a couch, and an hour there, an hour back is 2 hours. Like it just adds up a lot. But here now, I just source couches from either wholesale or private label or liquidations, and I can get either 10 to 20 couches at a time that a truck this comes to my warehouse, I unload it, and then I just have my inventory that I have to clean and then post it back up for sale.
Now, what do you think the pros and cons are of sourcing couches individually on Facebook versus these bulk orders that you're getting?
The pros for sourcing on Facebook Marketplace would be that it is definitely higher margin. So you can buy good quality couches that sometimes you don't have to necessarily clean or fix them up in any way, and you can sell them for a pretty good markup. Meanwhile, the liquidations or the wholesale prices, you don't necessarily know the condition that you get them in all the time. Sometimes there's couches that can come in and they're brand new from the box and they're great. Sometimes they come ripped or a missing cushion or something, and there's nothing you can do about it at that point. Or in terms of like new items, they're also higher priced, so you need more capital up front. Facebook Marketplace, you can literally go find a free couch, flip it the next day for $250, $300, and then just roll over that money into other couches. So yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to each model. That's why I like the Facebook Marketplace model as well for starter. But now where I'm at right now, like we don't necessarily source any more Facebook Marketplace couches. All we primarily just do is just either wholesale or liquidations or private label.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ivy Flip has been in couch flipping world for almost 2.5 years now, so quite some time. And when we were just starting out, we would talk to couch flippers that wanted to scale their business to the moon on the back of Facebook Marketplace. And we did some modeling around this, and there seemed to be enough margin that theoretically, like you could buy 100 couches a month on Facebook Marketplace if your market was big enough and you could sell 100 couches a month. In reality, it's just not, it's not pragmatic. Because what ends up happening is if you're only looking for 20 to 30 flips a month, then maybe you can cherry pick your opportunities. But as soon as you start pushing into 50 or 100, even if you're in like New York City or big market like that, you start having to make concessions on the kinds of items that you're buying. And so you're driving a little bit further, or you're getting the couch for a little bit more money, or it's coming in a state where it's going to require more restoration and repair. And so you think you're saving money because you're buying that couch for $200, let's say, and you can sell it for 6 or 7. And that's like a 300% markup. But you're not factoring in your time and the complexity of it, right? So it's like, well, if you really look at your costs, which include the value of your labor, especially if you're buying more couches, because after 30 couches a month, you're not doing that alone. You have to start incorporating the help of other people. And so now each hour that used to be free, quote unquote, of your time actually is hourly wage that you pay someone. And all of that gets factored into ultimately what that couch is going to cost you. The other thing that we found is that it takes a certain amount of hustle to be effective at sourcing couches on Facebook Marketplace and also selling couches on Facebook Marketplace. And if you're hiring a VA to do that, or just even an employee, it's very hard to get them to do it the right way. Like they're going to cut corners, they're getting paid by the hour, maybe they just don't care enough. Whereas like the serious flippers, they wake up, they're on their phone, ding, 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 ding. They're at the gym, they're on their phone in between sets, and you're not going to get that same level of like tenacity and grit from someone that's working for $5-10 an hour.
Well, at that point, like you're just devoting all your time into sourcing these couches on Facebook. And I value the time that I spent, whatever I'm doing. And that's why I did not like the fact that I had to go sit on my phone nonstop and be like I just looking for couches nonstop. Like you're saying, even at the gym in between sets, like I would just always be on my phone, just glued to the screen. And that I just said I did not want to do anymore. And I wanted to pivot into a different way to source these couches. But like you're saying, I see people that live in small areas and towns and they drive an hour or 2 hours away. And I understand they make like $1,000 and from a couch profit after flipping in, driving and stuff. And then they think it's worth driving the 4-6 hours for a couch both ways. Well, not like, I mean, 2 hours one way, 2 hours back. And for them, that makes sense. For me, it doesn't make sense. I value my time more, and I'd rather spend that time doing other things instead of just driving. That's same with goes delivering couches. So we offer free delivery for all of our couches. Me and my brother, we mainly did that primarily ourselves. Now we hired a driver, so we no longer have to waste the time in the truck going somewhere 30 to 45 minutes just to deliver a couch and then coming back. Usually those deliveries take 3 hours of your time, and that's a lot of time. Meanwhile, I can delegate that task to someone else. Another portion is I hate cleaning. I think for me, it's the biggest waste of time to do it myself. When you're starting off, of course, it makes sense for you to do. But now at the scale I'm at, it's just too many couches to deal with. And it's just too much work to just clean the couches yourself. And that's why I think it's important to delegate those tasks to other people, especially if you want to grow into not only grow your couch business, but just grow as a person, like grow your business and everything, grow financially. You got to delegate those tasks to other people. That's why now I'm able to spend more time investing my money somewhere else towards real estate, looking at properties I could fix and flip and all that. So I can just multiply that money at this point. And meanwhile, I can use the money to help people as well and coach them how to get to the level I'm at so they can do the same exact thing.
Absolutely. I think in business and in life, it's super important to know yourself. So if you have the ambition to build the next couch flipping empire, multiple locations, multiple $1 million of revenue, then understand that what it's going to take to get there. And you're not reasonably going to be able to do it finding couches one by one on Facebook Marketplace. However, if you're looking at it as a side hustle or just a better alternative to making money than your normal 9-to-5 job, and you're kind of content with $10,000 to $20,000 a month in revenue, then you don't need all the bells and whistles, right? In which case it behooves you to keep your operation super lean. Like don't deal with the overhead of having employees or getting a big warehouse and having truckloads of inventory come in. And that's a personal decision.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the person. Like if they're content with where they're at and they have a family and stuff and they just want to work on their own and make that $10,000 a month in profit and they're happy with where they're at, they don't have to deal with the headaches and the stress of, oh, this guy's doing the delivery wrong or he's taking too much time or the couches are not getting cleaned properly or something or all that. I mean, it all depends on what situation you're at. If you have a family, like I'm still young, I'm 23, so I don't have any of those responsibilities at the moment. So yeah.
Absolutely. And the thing that remains true, even to this day with all the competition out there, et cetera, is that couch flipping is a very low barrier to entry business to get into. Like you can start making decent money for yourself, $5,000, $10,000 a month with very little other than a vehicle, get an enclosed trailer. A truck is better if you can, not always, but let's say you don't have a truck, and a storage unit. So your startup capital could be in a few thousands of dollars, a little bit of capital to start buying couches, ideally, or you could even start flipping free couches, as a lot of people have. And you start building up your wealth, you start building up your liquidity over time, and you get to leverage that in interesting ways, whether you want to pivot to an adjacent business or start flipping real estate, still buy low, sell high, or get into trading, etc. So I've seen a lot of different ways that this story plays out, but there is opportunity for people who are willing to put their head down and work. And that's the quintessential hallmark of a couch flipper and why I love this industry compared to a lot of the, let's say, more get rich quick type schemes that are out there. Like it kind of selects for the people. If you want to spend your days eating Cheetos and being high on the couch, like couch flipping is probably not the thing for you. This is not to discriminate against the weed smokers or Cheeto lovers out there, but it's just kind of the reality of the situation. So in your coaching program, how do you help your students decide what's a good buying opportunity? And I'm guessing mostly that they're dealing with individual couches. So let's start there.
For the buy box for a couch, it really depends. I mean, if they start with zero capital, like with no money at all, they might not even have a truck or anything. I mean, I would recommend them to start off with either a free couch, of course, or up to $50, something that's really small. And at that point, they can pick up that couch. If they don't have a truck or anything, then Home Depot, Lowe's, all those places that you can rent out a truck for $20 an hour plus whatever the small fees are. At that point, that couch will pay for all those fees plus more. And I would tell them to get the free couch, make the $200 profit, $100 profit, whatever, and then use that $100, $200 to pick up a better couch. And this could be either a brand name couch or not even yet. And then once they get roughly $500 to $600, that's where you can start flipping more couches. At that point, you can get 2-3 couches at a time, and it just grows exponentially from there.
Got it. So you have like a step-by-step process that you're walking people through, even if they're starting from zero.
I mean, storage units, you can give a free month's rent once you get like a contract with them. The first month is free. And as well, like once they start acquiring more and more couches, of course, their capital grows. And with that capital, you can deploy it and invest in new items such as like cleaning equipment and buying a better truck maybe, or a trailer, or I personally like the box truck. I know people either say enclosed trailer or box truck. I go with box truck every time. The reason is because I could fit so many couches in there, and it's just a vehicle you can use for a lot of purposes, not just couches. And you can argue the same thing with trailers. I just personally love my box truck, so that's why I go with that.
I think the box truck is definitely more functional. Sometimes when people are making that decision, it's a dollar for value decision as well. Sometimes you can get better value out of the trailer, right?
Yeah, of course, a truck can break more often than a trailer, but yeah.
More expensive repairs, and it's
or expensive repairs and all that.
Right. And then if with the trailer, it just attaches to like your personal vehicle, so you don't have the additional expense of an entire vehicle just for your business. It's an easier way to step into the game. But yes, overall, I think the box truck is going to be better for most people. What do you think are the biggest mistakes made by people who are just starting out on their flipping journey, and how do you help your students avoid that?
Biggest mistakes, they don't know what couch to pick up first. There's some couches that don't sell. They'll sell for very, very cheap. Mostly it's like there's Amazon couches that people try to get rid of because they bought it by mistake and they thought they got a good deal from Amazon, and then they just either sell it for super cheap or give it away. Another thing is just the mistakes they make is investing too much money into a couch that doesn't necessarily bring you profit. Even though a couch looks great, like the microfiber ones and stuff, like people don't really like that. And people may overpay for those couches. Same with like reclining sets or like 2-piece or 3-piece sets. Those are slower moving items. People are not that they don't like buying those kind of couches. And so that's where we guide them in a way to avoid those mistakes and to find the right couches where people are going to pay top dollar for them, and also know just which ones people like. Like I know which couches people don't like to buy as often, and other couches they just fly off the shelves. Like I'll post it at 8 p.m. at night, and then by midnight it's sold. So that's where the teaching process comes in.
And, I think it pays to have a predisposition towards action in couch flipping and in entrepreneurship generally. You get to marketplace for the first time, you're scanning around, oh my God, there are hundreds of options. What do I buy? What do I buy? And some people get stuck in this analysis phase for like weeks or even months. And realistically, they would move much faster if they just made a decision and bought something and then learned from that interaction. But these mistakes can be painful, right? Like at the end of the day, you're using your body to go, like putting butt in seat to go to someone's house, get that out of their house, bring it back, clean it. And it can be really frustrating, right? And maybe there's an example of a bad lesson that you had to learn the hard way that you could share.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely quite a few lessons that I learned delivering the amount of couches I have. The biggest one is reclining pieces. Before, when I first started, I would pick up literally anything I found on Facebook Marketplace for free. It could be scratched up leather pieces or just ripped up cushions or anything. I would pick them up. But the biggest probably lessons I learned couch flipping is the reclining pieces with the power mechanisms in them. They're super heavy to move around. And when I first started, it was just me and my brother. And my brother at that time was like 15 or 16 years old, and me. And we were on the way to deliver this leather reclining 3-seater that we've had for a while because it just didn't sell as quickly because of all the scratches and stuff. And this guy decided to buy it, and it was like an hour away. It was like for $150. And he's like, okay, and now we got to go up 3 flights of stairs. And I'm like, what? Like, you're kidding me. And so he did help out and everything, but at that point, I still didn't know how to disassemble the back pieces and everything of the couch. So I was literally carrying this 300, 400-pound couch upstairs. And it was just the worst experience I've had since it was 4 flights of stairs. Another thing is there's a lot of couches that have very long pieces, and we would not ask the person beforehand if they lived in a house or apartment. And usually it's the apartments that are the stories that are dreadful for us, because the long pieces, they just don't fit through hallways and all that. And yeah, I mean, in terms of like customers, we haven't had any like complaints or anything with any of our couches, which is good. But I mean, there's probably a lot more stories that I just don't remember right now off the top of my head. But there was many that I was very frustrated while delivering couches.
And so you can learn these mistakes on your own, or you can seek the counsel of others and avoid making these painful mistakes, because those recliners are pretty fucking heavy.
They're heavy, yeah. I mean, now before, when I was still delivering couches, I would wear back braces and stuff just to save the back, because I mean, they're heavy pieces. And now we're just more strict on where we deliver them. We have a more thorough process of asking people, hey, like, is this an apartment? Is this a house? If it's a house, is this going to the basement? Is this a living room? Or an apartment, is there a freight elevator, or is it just stairs? And now we thoroughly ask people, hey, like, where do you live? Where do you want this couch and stuff? And there's a lot of times we don't deliver couches because of that. And it saves time for us and money, because at that point, we're not wasting our time in delivering a very big piece to an apartment that's people don't measure. Or I've had people say like, hey, can you deliver this couch? And they wouldn't measure the couch beforehand. And they're like, hey, do you think this will fit? I'm like, dude, you didn't measure the couch like, you didn't ask for measurements or anything beforehand. And he's like, no, I think it's gonna fit. And then thankfully sometimes it does fit, but I've had times where I've had to return the couch back to the warehouse because it didn't. So now we have like that thorough screening process of asking people of where it's going exactly. For reclining pieces, now we do just pretty much curbside for that, just because it's just too heavy for just to move inside homes. And a lot of people are very demanding as well. Even though you offer the free delivery and stuff, they still ask a lot from you. You come to the house, you pull up, and they're like, oh, by the way, like, can you help me move out my old couch out? I'm like, I'm here just for the delivery. I'm not here to do service work. Or if you do, like, it's going to cost you or something. And so sometimes we do charge people to move out couches. people are too demanding, too picky about it, but it's just part of the business. Other people are super thankful. They'll tip you and everything, and they enjoy the experience that we offer. Because I mean, a lot of people, a lot of clients, they don't have trucks, or it's girls that rent out apartments or something, and they can't carry it inside or anything. So they're super thankful for having the service that we offer with our flipping.
So this is definitely an area of contention, and I've heard both sides: free delivery or paid delivery.
Yeah, so I've seen that debate all over, and with us, we just do free delivery, everything. Well, we free delivery, we do deliver everything for free, but if people do decide to say, hey, would you come down on the price or anything, that's when we say, hey, would you be able to pick this up? And then if they say yes, then we do come down in the price. Otherwise, the free delivery, we offer it everywhere. I mean, up to a certain point. Sometimes people will message me. I'm from Chicago. They message me from Michigan or from up north in Wisconsin. They're like, "Hey, it's still free delivery, correct?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm not going to drive 4 hours just to deliver a couch to you." I mean, free delivery is just like around the area, around Chicago area. But I go all in for free delivery. I mean, it's just a service that we offer, and it's a service that people appreciate, and that's how we're able to move more volume and more couches along the way. Another thing is we did the free delivery. We tried not doing free delivery. We just said like, oh, delivery is extra, and a lot of people passed on that option, and we just didn't see the value in charging delivery for a couch. And we also have the box truck, so whenever we have any couches en route, we just pack 3, 4 couches at a time, and then we just all deliver them at a time. So it's not always just one couch going one way and you're just wasting gas. Well, not spending gas on just that one couch. We do free delivery everywhere, and that's what I recommend to other people as well if you want to move more volume, more couches.
What do you think the benefit is in being able to offer free delivery? Do you have like happier customers, higher ability to close sales? Like, how would you quantify it?
I think like higher chance of closing sales, I believe. Like I said, a lot of people don't have trucks, or they just don't have the labor to move furniture as big as couches. And so with us providing that free delivery to our customers, they do appreciate it. And a lot of reviews show that as well, because I get 5-star reviews all the time. They said like, oh, they do free same day delivery, great service and everything. So I definitely, people do appreciate it. It's just at times they don't appreciate it when they start negotiating, and for example, if a couch is for $1,000 and they'll say, hey, like, would you go down to 750? And for example, if that couch was sitting for a very long time at a warehouse, we go like, okay, sure, like, when can you pick up the couch? And he goes, oh, well, that's included with delivery, correct? And I'm like, I'm sorry, like the delivery is included with the price that's offered at, with the full price. And so at that point, there's a lot of times that people also come to the warehouse, and then they look at the couches we have and they start negotiating, and then they negotiate. We come to a price, and then they're like, oh, and you deliver it for free, correct? And I'm like, I mean, sometimes if they're close, sure, but other times it gets a little bit annoying. But we don't usually have that problem often, and people are very appreciative of having that free delivery option.
Tell me about some of the transitions that you made in your business. So right now you're in 8,000 square feet, 2 warehouses. When did you move out of the storage unit and into the warehouse, and what precipitated that decision?
Yeah, so I worked out of my parents' garage for 2 years, I would say. And yeah, for well, a year and a half to 2 years. So I just used their our garage. They were very supportive of it. They liked the entrepreneurial lifestyle, so they're like, if you want to use the garage, go for it. And they let me use it for 2 years, and then eventually I got a warehouse that I saw for rent. It was a great price for 1,000 square feet. I never got a storage unit in between, so I never went through that process. So I went straight from a garage to a warehouse, and it was just a small 1,000 square foot warehouse. And I was there for roughly 6 months, because that's where I found out about the liquidations and wholesale, and those ways of sourcing couches. And that's when I moved from that 1,000 square foot warehouse to 3,000 square feet. And now from this 3,000 square feet, this is where we're at, the 5,000 square foot warehouse. So we decided to keep both warehouses at the same time. They're right next to each other, so it was very convenient for us. And we're just saying, oh, we're able to source more couches now and load up more on inventory. So that's how we transitioned from going from a garage to 8,000 square feet.
And so if you were to recommend to another flipper or a student who's on the fence about making that upgrade, what would you say?
It really depends on the situation you're at. If you're just flipping like, let's say anywhere from like 5 to 10 couches or even 20 couches, I would start going into a warehouse once you're making like $5,000 per month in profit. That's when I would start moving into a warehouse, because that way you do need to have some money saved up for a security deposit and to have first month's rent. And that's when I would make that transition from the garage to the warehouse, but only if you're dedicated enough to start flipping more and more couches and not something to treat it as a side hustle. Because if you're just flipping anywhere from 10 to 20 couches a month, like you can easily do that from your garage, or just even like if you have a shed or something in your backyard, you could use.
Now let's talk about your experience selling new couches. So, obviously you're doing the B stock, but you've dabbled a little bit with some new products. I think it was the Comfy Clouds. What was your experience with that? Are you continuing to sell new products, or are you leaning more towards the liquidations nowadays?
Yeah, so we've dabbled in with new products. Right now, we have an Ashley Furniture direct supplier that we work with, so that's all brand new furniture that comes in. We worked with the My Comfy couches as well, and we got the modular sets from China as well, from the private labels. The only thing that I don't like about those models as necessarily as the liquidations is because those models, they require a ton of capital upfront, but not even that, it's just the margins are much slimmer. And if they're much slimmer, but it takes less work to flip the couch. So you don't there's no work pretty much. You don't have to clean it, you don't have to fix it up, you don't have to do any of that. All you would have to do is just show one couch in the showroom, the different colors you offer, and then you just sell those in box and you brand it as brand new. But a lot of people also ask for the brand with the couches. With the private label from China, they ask like, oh, what brand is this? Where is this from? Is like, how'd you get this? All that. So with like Ashley Furniture, people are familiar with that. You could show them you can send them the link from Ashley Furniture and they know what it is. Or they can even go in the showrooms at the stores and see what they have, and they can pick out which couch they want, and they can then reach out to you so you can order it for them. But in terms of either the private label and the new couches are definitely much harder to sell just because of the brand, but they're also nice because it takes less effort and less time. I mean, you don't have to clean them. You don't have to clean them. You don't have to set them up. You don't have to do any of that.
Right, they're ready to go.
They're ready to go, yeah. But we primarily like to do the liquidations because that way brand couches and a lot of people know what they are. They can see the reviews of other people, what they like about them, what they don't like about them. So that's why we primarily grew our business towards the liquidation model business, and with Ashley Furniture as well, because that's just what people like instead of the private label.
What would you say is the difference in capital requirements if you're buying liquidation truckloads versus buying new products?
I would say there's a drastic difference between both. Is liquidations, you can buy less than truckload, so it's 2, 3, 4 pallets of section 2, 3, 4 couches. The new items from China, those can be very capital intensive because at that point you're buying a container worth or half a container worth, which could amount anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 or even more if you're buying a full container. So it's way more capital intensive. Here in liquidations, you could see how much it's going for and everything. You can bid what's your maximum amount, and there's more leniency in a way to see how much you can spend on the couch and see what your profit margins would be. It's easier to entry the barrier than the private label for sure. Yeah, it's because you can just buy smaller quantities.
Got it. And what do you think the difference in profit margin is from a new couch versus the liquidation couches?
I mean, it really depends on the market. So like I'm from Chicago. There's a lot of other couch flippers in my area. So I guess we're more competitive here. And the profit margins on, for example, on any couch, like for even liquidations, the profit margins they're better than the brand new couches. The difference would be, let's say, like a difference of like 20% for us, for example, 20% profit margin between the liquidated couch and a brand new private label couch. But I would argue in other markets where people have not as much competition, those profit margins change. So, for example, for liquidations, they could make maybe 10 to 15% more profit margin on each couch rather than how much I make here in Chicago. Because I mean, there's two warehouses rented next to me that there's two guys that do the exact same thing as I do. Literally the same thing. The trucks come and they liquidate as well. And there's also a lady up north that also has a whole wholesale liquidation store that she operates as well. So there's way more competition here rather than smaller markets where you could be known as the couch guy who you go and can sell the couch for more money.
If I were to put it in more precise terms, maybe the new couches you're averaging around a 30 to 40% profit margin, whereas on the liquidations you're averaging closer to 60, 70% profit margin. Okay. Yeah. And that's commensurate with numbers that I've heard from many, many other flippers too. And we look at financial statements for flippers all the time and kind of get a sense of where people tend to land with their inventory. Very interesting. Now, one thing I want to talk about is the majority of your sales are coming from Facebook Marketplace. So you're not forcing people into your showroom, doing lots of showings. You're not really leveraging a drop group or an Instagram. And you're able to do a considerable amount of revenue. So tell me about your sales strategy and the development of it. I remember you talking about a conversation with the AZ Couch Depot guys being really influential. Maybe you could unpack that for us.
Yeah, I mean, so we primarily do Facebook Marketplace. We don't do any couch drops. We don't have a drop group or anything. We don't have a website. The reason for that is because, for example, for the website, we don't have is because our turnaround is too fast to upload those couches onto a website. And for liquidations, not every single couch is in the same condition. Like, for example, if there's a cloud couch that we get routinely, but that cloud couch could be in different conditions every single time. It could be brand new, it could be like new, it could be pet friendly, it could be it could have pet hair all over it, or one of the cushions is missing, and it would just take too much time updating the website. While in the meantime, you just snag a picture, upload it to Facebook Marketplace, and then you just have it on there. And then whenever people ask if you have a website or anything, I just go on my profile, I press the share button for my profile link, and I say, hey, here's all our inventory that we have. Just scroll through it and just message me on the one that you like, or message me on a couple that you like, and then we can just go from there. And we also did OfferUp before. OfferUp, I feel like it's good to a certain point. Like, we do get sales from that, but it's just at this point, we just got so many lowball offers from OfferUp all the time consistently, and it was just not worth our time to post couches on there. And Facebook Marketplace has been great, even though I did get banned from Facebook Marketplace once, and that was a hurdle that I was very scared of at that point, because I did not know what was going to happen to the business, because at this point I have warehouses rented out, I have leases signed and all that. And all of a sudden, I don't have access to Facebook Marketplace without having any information on why that happened in the first place. And so I started messaging a lot of people, asking them like, hey, like, do you know why this could be the case and everything? And I did so much research that I finally found a Reddit post where the guy says, here's an email link to contact customer support, because the customer support that's through the app they didn't reach out back to me at all. And so that link actually drove me to a customer service representative somewhere. And he actually scheduled a call with me to explain what happened to my account and everything. And for those flippers that are out there, for me, it was if you go on your profile link and you go activities, and then on the top it says shipping methods and all that. Apparently, when I first started off selling these couches 5 years ago, I pressed a toggle that says that I allow shipping, and that shipping, you're required to put in your tax ID number or your social security number in there. And I never put that in, and so that's why they disabled my account. But once they enabled my account back up, I immediately put in my tax ID number into there, and then from there on, it's been good. But that was a very scary moment, because I did not know what was going to happen, and I've heard horror stories of people getting locked out of Facebook Marketplace for a couple months. And I mean, a couple months, like, I have rent to pay for warehouses and everything. So, but we also have backup, because me and my brother both post couches. So his account was good, in good standing, and we made sure he had all those social security and ITIN numbers in there as well. Well, if he pressed that toggle. and we were still able to sell couches in the meantime, but that was a scary moment in our journey. Um, but yeah, for OfferUp, we had the business representatives reach out to us asking if we want to do the business profile and all that to post more than 25 posts a month. We just decided not to do it just because we just didn't see the value in OfferUp as much as Facebook Marketplace. And the website, like I said, our turnaround is too fast. And the couch drop, I mean, it's successful for other people. It definitely works for other people. I just don't see a value in it. That I didn't really try it out, but I also don't want to. It's right now what I'm doing is working out, so I'm content with where I'm at.
It seems like you have optimized your Facebook Marketplace listings and you're doing well enough there that, if you're happy with what you got, then why push into other domains? Having some redundancy is good. So, Facebook can go up or down, but it seems like you're solving that by having multiple profiles. Okay, so final thing I'd like to chat with you today is you want to leverage your couch flipping capital into a real estate empire. And I know I've heard this from many other flippers who would like to do the exact same thing. What are some things that you should be aware of if you want to take your couch profits and put it into houses? How do you set yourself up for success?
I invested a lot of money into the couch business to grow it to the point where I'm at right now. I'm content with how much growth we've been able to accomplish. And I just don't see couches as something that I will move on forward for a very, very long time. I don't see myself getting any stores or any of that. So that's why I want to get into real estate. And I mean, I still save up as much money as possible. I live very frugally. I don't spend my money on just materialistic things or cars or any of that. It's just because I want to focus on the real estate, but I'm saving up all that money so I can get into a rental property and stuff. So especially Airbnbs, that's where a place that I want to get into. There's a lot of Airbnb investors that buy from us and they keep telling us, hey, go into Airbnb. Like you already have the furniture like at a discounted price. Like you're already like, that's pretty much a lot of the capital goes towards furnishing the home. And you're able to use your other business to use the couch business to intertwine with the Airbnb business. So that's a model that I want to get into. I've already acquired some properties through couch flipping, so I'm very proud of that. And I'm just continuing to scale that venture as well.
One quick thing I'd like to touch on is for a lot of couch flippers, this is under the table. But if you want to get a mortgage, you need proof of income. And so then it becomes extremely important to be incorporated and show revenues flowing through the business. Otherwise, you're good luck getting a loan, even if you have a substantial amount of liquidity for a down payment, et cetera. You don't want to pay for a property straight cash, right? Like you definitely want a loan with favorable loan terms. And there's a whole other circuit for real estate investing in knowledge. So I don't want to dig too deeply in there, but it is, interesting to keep sight of because not everyone at the end of the day wants to build a couch flipping empire. And that's totally okay. Just know yourself, know what you're in it for, and understand that, there are different levels of effort and investment that are required to take your business to that next step. And it's good to know at least what those prospects are. Last question for you. For someone that's just starting out or someone making good money flipping couches, looking to scale, what is the biggest piece of advice that you have from them as you look back on your couch flipping career?
I mean, I guess just go out and do it. If you're very iffy on like starting it out or anything, in any business, not even just couch flipping, just go out and just start doing something towards your goal. Specifically for couch flipping, I mean, if you pick up a couch for free, it doesn't sell. At worst case scenario, you sell it for $50 or give it away for free. All you have to do is just spend your time and your gas. Couch flipping has definitely changed my life, and it could definitely change a lot of people's lives if they just get into it. I know it sounds like, oh, how can couches pay for a lifestyle, or how can couches pay for a down payment for a house? But it definitely can. Like every single person needs a couch, and with all this AI coming out and all that, I mean, AI is never going to take away couch flipping from us because, I mean, people need couches to sit on, and that's never going away. And there's always people that need to deliver those couches, and it's a business that's never going to go away.
All right, folks, you heard it here first. If you're scared of the incoming AI job recession, maybe get into couch flipping. Jacob, thank you so much for joining me on the Couch Pod. Folks, if you got value from today's episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, share this with someone who needs to hear it. And of course, check out Jacob's course. You can contact him on Instagram. I'll have the contact information in the description below. Catch you all next time.
Thanks.